Yo, what's up, guys? It's your boy Kimbo here, and it's time for an epic discussion video. Obviously, on Beyblade vs. Superking, the latest episode being absolutely crazy, man. The very end of the Legend Festival, and we saw the resolution. Honestly, one that not too surprised about, but just seeing it actually happen, like, wild. Yeah. So if you haven't had a chance to see the episode, I'll give you 5 seconds. If you don't want any spoilers, out of courtesy. So, yeah, the latest episode being episode number 31, the very end of the Legend Festival for Superking. This is coming off of the hinges of Hikaru and Hyuga both having their base broken by Lane, completely demolished, dude. I guess what? It's like he was very impressed, or very in break. If it is a new move and it's not very impressed, and he just thought of another like breaking move, that's 2 breaking moves that he has, which is really wild. And also, he broke 2 bays at one time, which we've never seen any character do. Freaking wild. His flair's still growing. And then getting into the final battle, it being Lane versus Vault, the Wonder Boy. Everybody just hoping that Vault can take out Lane with this battle. First battle, Lane getting the win over Vault when Valkyrie hit before Lucifer did. And then the second battle, Vault actually being the one to figure out how to get through that barrier of Lane's. He got all the way through that barrier. Like, Aiga put up a good fight and he managed to take out the barrier, but then Lane sped up and made that barrier come back. But Vault kept attacking and wore out Lucifer's stamina a little bit, and then he had to focus mainly on his flare itself. So, the second battle, Vault actually took out the barrier and managed to get the KO on Lane's Lucifer. So, the score being tied 1-1, and then we finally start to see the point where the antagonist snaps. He starts to snap. So, just like how Phi snapped in the past, when he got Dead Phoenix, just like how Gwyn snapped in the past when he got Big Bang Genesis, going from like Regalia Genesis or Royal Genesis to Big Bang Genesis or Eclipse Genesis. If you're for all the Hasbro fans out there, Lane's getting to that point where he's finally starting to lose his freaking mind and he's starting to go cuckoo. He's starting to just go bonkers, It's wild. Just even the expressions on his face. Honestly, my big time impression with it was, seeing his face. It reminded me a lot of how twisted Kyle's face was. Kyle, the owner of Hazard Kerbeus, who we all thought like Kensuke was going to own Kerbeus, but then it was Kyle during Cho-Z. How his face started to get kind of twisted and such. How he was looking when he unmasked, when he faced Free. During season 3. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and look at it, the battle between Kyle and Free, like his demeanor and how his face was even during that battle. And during that time period, Lane's face resembled that big time. Like, it feels like there's just a lot of things tying together with this. Like, a lot of different things really getting weaved together. Like, just from not even, like, the sites and places we've gone. Like, the God Bladers Cup Arena and such, to even visiting Aiga's home, to just going around to so many different places. Even, like, just the demeanor of some characters, and also, like, them getting homage with their parts and such, for their bays, like, Fafnir getting Nasing, Longinus getting Destroy, Destroy Dash in this case, Valkyrie getting Evolution, Spriggan getting Unite, like, all the homage they're paying, it really feels like everything's getting tied together with this season, and we're getting a true build up here. Personally, my thoughts on how they did the Legend Festival, I'm not even upset one bit, but we're going to get into that after just explaining everything with this final battle. The last battle, Vault actually, he manages to once again push in the barrier, but then Lane makes a new move. He's not having any of it. His flare's going wild because you see him, turning black, the shadowy version. He starts to look like how Phi did when he was really filled with the power of, Dead Phoenix, and then how Arthur was getting when he had the power of Apocalypse, and it was starting to go kind of wild. We see Lane get that kind of shadowy look. Also, how Hearts looked with his Hades, with just the shadows and such surrounding him. It was a really wild moment, seeing him start to snap mentally because, sorry to cough, because his resonance, or I should say his flare, is growing so much to the point where he's just going wild, man. And then he uses a brand new move. At first, I thought it was very in defense. Guys also have to keep in mind, I'm watching the episode basically right after it comes out, so I might not be able to translate everything right away. I'm glad you guys go in the comments and such and tell me what the names of the moves are and such. But apparently the move's called Variant Disaster, And it was a thought before, if somebody manages to get through that barrier of Lane's Lucifer, they're gonna have to deal with the actual full out power of Lucifer itself, like the bay itself on the inside, the defensive bay on the inside, like, you know, when that barrier is gone. And Vault had to deal with that. He got through the barrier, which is the first stage, and big props. It shows just how strong Vault is because nobody got through that barrier like he did. Granted, a lot of people didn't get a chance to face Lane during this not God Players Cup, but during this Legend Festival, which that's a big time thing and develops the plot for later on. But he uses Variant Disaster, even though Vault uses the Brave Sword, and Valkyrie bursts. Like, it was wild seeing it, man. Valkyrie burst like so easily from that move, and that was an ultimate like shaking moment because we all were hoping that Vault would be able to win it. He put up a really, really good fight and managed to get the KO on Lane, which is something nobody was really able to do like on that level. He got a full out KO, not like, oh, sent it out and then Lucifer dropped first and then landed like how Achilles did, which, you know, I did put up a good fight, but full out KO. So it shows how strong Vault is, but it shows just how dangerous Lane's Flare is getting. And it sets up the tone for the rest of this season. The Legend Festival being done, Lane being the winner. Not only being the winner, but also still at this point in this season, 31 episodes in, being an undefeated Blader, which is wild. So definitely Gwyn vibes with this because Gwyn didn't lose with Genesis until like the final battles with victories and such, like victories versus Hell, you know, and Genesis was barely losing, like lost via like I think spin finish in one of the battles, and then like the final battle obviously like with the burst, but still Lane's undefeated at this point. Literally he went from having first Uranus to upgrading to Lucifer and he never lost with it. You know, like a full out battle, I mean, lost with it. Like, yes, he's been like, Lucifer's been KO'd, the barrier's been taken away and such at this point, you know, but not full out losing complete power wise because in the later battles, Lane comes back and he's even broken some bays. So it sets up the tone for the rest of the season. Now, my personal opinions and thoughts on how they did this Legend Festival, I'm not even upset one bit. I know some people are probably wondering, like, oh, you know, they hyped up battles between Free and Lane. That's been hyped up this whole season. Same thing with Lane versus Shu. Same thing with Louis versus Lane again. All being big-time hyped up battles. Why didn't they capitalize on them during this Legend Festival with all these Bladers? It's because they're saving it, you know. They're saving all these big-time battles. My hopes is that they're going to have another tournament that's like the God Bladers Cup, in which there's only 1v1 battles, because with that, you undisputedly, hands down, find out who is the stronger out of the Bladers, because it's 1v1, there's no running or hiding or anything, or like, oh, this Blader got KO'd or such, which a lot of this happened during this festival, because like the Battle Royals, the team battles and such, you know? But full out like 1v1s, Bladers using their absolute ultimate power at the very end of the season, and then one by one finding out their ranks slowly, like how we did during the God Bladers Cup. That's definitely something that we've got to see during this season, because, you know, they definitely with this, a lot of the Bladers they protected full out. The only ones I feel like they didn't fully protect, and you could tell like where their lines are power wise, would be Cisco and Rantaro, because they both, you know, had lost big time with their battles, you know. But there's not saying that they're not strong. They're very, very powerful. It's that there's a lot of very powerful Bladers in this category. You know, there's a lot of legends and such, and especially Lane now being the category of a legend and having the full out man to beat role because he's beaten these legends and won the Legend Festival. So everybody's gonna be gunning for Lane big time, but Lane's not even scared because it's Lane, you know, and his flare has reached the ultimate maximum level. So it's gonna be wild to see the battles that come after. But I like how they did protect the characters, at least for now. We got to get those big time battles later on. It sets up for the rest of the season, because like next episode's episode, what, 32? And we're going to be introduced to Hyperion, Burn, and Helios Volcano. That's their names of the new Helios and Hyperion. And then the set coming out next month. But after that, after the introduction of these bays, I feel like that's where things are going to really start hitting the fan with this season. Because at this current moment, the one who is definitely the knight in shining armor and our hope to take out Lane is Shu. Because, I mean, look at Lane's tear. I mean, he just beat Vault at the end of the Legend Festival. Whether Vault was using his full power or not, it seemed like he was using a lot of his power, but not absolute, like, crazy Vault away ultimate level, you know. But he's using a good amount of his power, but he still lost handily to Lane, which was really, really crazy to see. But Shu's the one that really created this monster, because he obviously came in with first Uranus, And of all places, like I said, all places, New York, to show up and do a bunch of battles. Like, still, why New York? And also, we still got to get the backstory of Lane, and how he got first Uranus, even, because we found out like the backstory of how he went to New York and had all these battles, and then how he beat Free. And it's implied if he did break Geist Fafnir, because that's why Free made Mirage. It's either like he lost via like not having enough power and taking Lane lightly, or just got shattered. Fafnir got shattered. But regardless, that's what led to Free getting Fafnir. So you know that they're not going to skip over that battle. That battle has to happen. It's going to be a big time, hyped up battle. But Shu's definitely the knight in shining armor right now. Unless they have like Free or Louis come in and do battles, which maybe even then it's going to be hard for either one of them to beat Lane at this stage. Honestly, because even Vault has lost to Lane. And yeah, we know like the rivalry between like all of them, like, Free and Louis, and then also like Louis and Vault just being so powerful. He was the number one. He was the world champion at a point, and it's still like one of the top legends. And he lost, which is crazy. So yeah, Shu's the big time hope. My thoughts with this are that Shu is gonna be the one to take out Lane because he's the one that created Lane. Well, not like fully created him, obviously, but like trained him to the point where he mastered balance and such and got stronger, even stronger than the flare that he had before. And then he evolved Uranus into Lucifer. But he knows Lane the best out of anybody. And if that battle happens, it's going to be really, really intense. But I see Shu coming out the winner of it because Lane's not going to be, he's going to be taking Shu lightly, I definitely think. And he's just going to be like, okay, I'm just going to face you and destroy you because I even beat Vault, and Vault beat you. But then Shu's going to be like, nah, I'm not having any of your crap because I trained you. I trained you. I can take you out. And then imagine he gets the burst on Lucifer. He's not going to like break it or anything because Shu's not an evil character anymore. I can't see Lucifer breaking or anything. I see Lucifer getting bursted and then Lane fully starting to snap, like how he's starting to kind of snap now. He just goes over that hump and he completely snaps after this. So imagine Lane versus Shu happening and then Shu winning, Lane fully snaps, and then that leads to the craziness that is to come. That being the diabolical evolution of Lucifer, which would be really, really wild, man. And like I said, the way I'd say this story, like just how they tied everything together, this is one of my favorite seasons of Burst. The way they could bring this home is if they really tie everything together, like bring back former evils, old evils, which have like total like cliffhangers with them, like Ashton Theodore, Eval, Arthur, all these entities, and imagine them joining together into one group. That is the ultimate evil. That would be an ultimate evil, and they would all have their motives against all these legends. It would make it where all these legends are battling and such, and then imagine they have plans for all of them. They have certain bladers, not just Lane, but other bladers in the shadows that come back. Like imagine Arthur or Norman or such coming back with this, and then they all have their vendettas against these legends, and they're all just focusing on them one by one, certain groups, That would be absolutely wild. And then even like Ashton Theodore being the absolute craziest because of his foreshadowing. If he does come back, he's like, you and Vault win this time, and drove off in a limo. He told that to Chris, the manager of BC Soul, literally after the God Bladers Cup. You and Vault win this time, as if I'm coming back and I'm going to get revenge on you. I know I said this before, but legit, this would be a perfect way to have that segue for him to come back in. Like, they've all forgotten about it at this point, but he hasn't. He never forgot about it, and they have him come back into this season. That would be wild, dude. And then Shu would be like, oh man, and Vault and all these legends that actually faced him, and faced the snake pit out of these legends would be like, whoa, oh man, he's back. And then even Free, because he said he wasn't done with Free. It would be wild because just the storytelling with it. When Free lost to Louis, he went to the New York Bulls for a little bit during season 2, and then he left from there and went back to BC Soul. But when he said that, like, when Free left, Ashton was like, or Theodore, the time, because he was Theodore Glass, not Ashton, so much of the snake pit, but he said, I'm not quite finished with you yet, and smiled. And that'll be crazy foreshadowing, because if it is like he created Lane, it'll be wild, because she was the manager of the Bulls in New York. Before him, it was Ashton or Theodore. Well, Theodore Glass, and then Ashton being his secret identity in the snake pit. Like, imagine Ashton or Theodore not forgetting that he was the manager of the Bulls, and he created Lane. Imagine he's the one behind Lane getting first journalist and having this flair. He found a way to make the Requiem Project. At that time, it showed like his maximum power, but then Vault caught up to Shu's power or Red Eye's power at the time. But now, making it perfect. So no blader can reach that resonance because it continues to grow over time, more and more and more. And it shows even with this. And imagine he has Lane particularly go to New York in order to show this to Shu. And then under the radar, it's like Lane was created by Ashton or Theodore. He put him through some kind of new Requiem project and then sends him to New York, of all places, to show off his power. He knows Shu's watching in the crowd, and he does it just to toy with Shu to see what this unknown blader, so Shu could see this unknown blader and see how strong he is. But then he actually manages to beat Free, which will be a double whammy because then he would have gotten payback against Free and said, I'm not quite done with you yet. And then imagine after this battle, like we have a battle between Lane and Free again, and then Free loses it, fully loses it, and then he just shows up and says, I told you I'd get my revenge. Like, that's the perfect way of resolving a story. And that would be a wild way too. You just have him show up. Like, everybody thinks he's gone. He doesn't have any relevancy to the story or anything anymore. That being the characters, that even being people in real life. And then they have him come back. Have all these entities come back. Eval coming back. Arthur coming back. And all of them thinking that they're done, but they all didn't forget. And then they decided to put all of their eggs in one basket, make one big united group, and go after all these legends. Because at this point, it feels like these legends are all on speaking terms and are all chill with one another, except for Lane. Even during the Legend Festival, it showed it. Yes, they were competitive and such, and you could see like all their personalities and stuff and how they interact with one another. I mean, but come on, we even saw like Louis and Drum. Come on. Just interaction. It was really funny. And that humor. But they're all on good terms. And it shows, except for Lane. Lane being the odd man out. So imagine all these bladers, these legends coming together and being on the same side. But then Lane's flair just being absolutely crazy. And they're just trying to take out Lane. But then he goes through this crazy, crazy Requiem project on this level. And that's how we get the new Lucifer. And it's literally like Diablo Nemesis, God of Destruction, like not Phi God of Destruction, Rago God of Destruction level, where you could have like 5, 6, 7 bays attacking it at once and it's not going to budge it. And if he uses full power on you and you get caught in that move, your bay is going to break. Like, you lose, your bay's done. No matter who you are. Doesn't matter if you're Vault or Iga or Shu or Free or Louis or any legend. You're that powerful to the point where you wipe out any legend and just crush their bay. That's my big time fear with how this will go. Like, if there is a new Lucifer, if that is one of the bays that's going to be coming out, it'll be wild, man. But also having these bladers that are just been built up on this level that haven't been entered in yet, being, bladers that come back as surprises that are credible to be coming back, like Phi, Gwen, and Delta. I know I say it a lot. Literally, they're all so powerful. It's undisputed they come back. They're going to put up good fights. Phi beat Free and Shu. Gwen was strong enough to where it took the power of victories completely to take out Gwen. And that's Gwen's own power, his own power. And Delta being so strong that in a 1v1 with Master Diabolos, he never lost. In a 1v1 with Master. Yes, with Venom and Erase, got shattered by Arthur. And then he had Master, but in a 1v1, he never, ever lost with Master, like, power-wise. It wouldn't be right if they just resolved it that way. And especially with Vault losing recently, you don't think Delta watched that and is like, this guy's strong. I'm going to up my game, and I'm going to join the fray of things, especially if things start going haywire. And he makes a new Lucifer or something. Yeah, that's just, like, until like, the full story is out there, not going to give up hope on Phi, Gwen, or Delta coming back. I really, really want to see them entered in this, because if they're in this, if they have this big-time build-up with all these groups coming back, it being on this world-destructive level, all these legends having to be this, have this entity that's this strong, where they all have to join their forces together and they all do their battles, and we get that end result, with all this craziness going on, like this ultimate group versus all these legends, that's the ultimate build-up, and that would make this my favorite season, for sure. Still bummed they didn't put a really, really strong female blader in there. Cough, cough, Gwen, but then Gwyn end up being a boy, but it is what it is. It's fine. But they definitely need to do a build up like this if they want to make it the most convincing, like crazy, powerful, awesome season of Burst ever. And that's just my personal opinion on it. I mean, that's how I build it up, anyways, having all those evils come back and resolve that story that we've been seeing throughout, because it really feels like this is going to be the last season and they need to resolve all of this and have this crazy level. And it shows there's not going to be a full out happily ever after. We're going to see some big time devastation with the remainder of this season, because we just saw the Wonder Boy Vault Alloy lose handily, which is wild, man. Vault, it doesn't matter who's gone up against Lane, they've lost. They might have gotten like a KO or something on them, but then Lane's learned, his flare's grown, and he gets the full out 1v1 battle against them. Yikes. Whoever faces Lane in a 1v1, yikes. You better watch out. You better have done your homework. You better have done your research, and you better be ready. But definitely one of the next battles I see happening is Lane versus Shu, because they built it up big time. Because Lane's seems like his resonance or his flare has grown to, if not its maximum point, just below its maximum point. It's there after this battle with Vault, and he said he's going to throw it all at Shu. So that hints that probably in one of the next episodes, we're going to see that battle, man. I'm rooting for Shu all the way. You already know. Lane's such a cool character, and I want to like him, but he's also evil. And hoping Shu whoops him. You trained him, so kind of pupil versus master. And then after that, Lane just goes bonkers, says, "You're not my master whatsoever. This is my true master." And then it's like this evil group, and it shows how Lane got all this power. Because how is this crazy amount of resonance and such just going to show up out of nowhere? And especially because Lucifer's known as the Black Sun. Big time Nemesis vibes with that. Because what was Nemesis called? The Black Sun. Like, come on, man. Can't tell me that connection's not there for him to be the full out evil that's trying to destroy the world, and then has a bay that's so powerful even legends will get crushed in moments with it. That being an evolution for Lucifer. Those are my hopes for this season. Like I said, I'm excited and I'm nervous, because especially being in the dark period now with this set with Achilles, the random booster being out with Achilles, and then us knowing about the set with Helios and Hyperion, the new ones, we're in the dark period. They can throw in anything they want to for the remainder of this season. So we got December's releases, January releases, February releases. So we got 3 more months of releases, and they can drop whatever they want to with them. And I feel like in December, they're going to drop a metric crazy crap ton, because they always do, because holidays. We got a good amount coming in November, and whatever bay is the silhouette for the end of November. Just the way it looks, it kind of has like a trident shape, but definitely not. Imagine it is just Lucifer, like the evolved Lucifer, and they're dropping it then. That'll be wild, dude. But I'm personally hoping for like Phoenix, Diabolos, like the Diabolos we see in the show, and Delta comes back, or Genesis. Definitely my big time hopes. And the rumored, it's not confirmed, rumored thing is that the next random booster prize is an attack type bay. There's 3 bays that come in mind. Apocalypse, I'd say Apocalypse, Excalibur, or I'm just going like power wise in the show that would be full out credible to come back. Definitely like Apocalypse, Excalibur, maybe Kukulkan. Because Kurtz is a former world champion and he's in the underworld. Because if the world is at stake, the underworld's just as much at stake. And he comes back and he's actually a good character this time. Because he was kind of a tweener the last time, just a confident, former world champion. But yeah, that being all the way back in God. But then since then he's faced Vault, like for a champion battle, and Vault beat him. And then, since then we haven't seen Kurt, really. But yeah, man, it's going to be crazy to see just how this season builds. I can't wait to see what bays they're going to drop for the remainder of this season. It's going to be really, really wild. And I really hope that we get this crazy level of devastation for this, because we deserve it. They got to beat out everything they've done for all the seasons of Burst. And it's not an easy thing to do that, but the way they build this up, if they have this build up, like the one that at least I'm thinking personally, that's the build up you need to beat out everything else, and have these characters come back, man. But yeah, I already know if Phi, Gwyn, or Delta get there's a new Phoenix or Genesis or Diabolos confirmed, everybody's gonna be messaging me like, "Oh my god, dude, it happened," and I'm gonna be flipping out. Like, I'll legit make a video of my reaction. I'll be like, and flip out. But anyways, that is it for this episode discussion video. Let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comments. It's gonna get really, really wild, man. I hope it does get as devastating as, you know, it's kind of been built up to be. And, like, hopefully they tie everything together because it deserves it. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to slice that like button down below. Let me know how it did. If you're new to my channel, definitely be sure to subscribe for some epic content because I upload daily. And if you haven't already, be sure to ring that bell by my channel name to be notified whenever I upload a video. So yeah, guys, till next time, it's your boy Kimbo signing off. See you guys later. Thanks so much for watching. Till then, stay awesome and cool shoot. I'm up out of here.